Yo, what's going on, guys? In this video, I want to talk about why most coaches never scale past six figures or even seven figures a month. And the thing is it's not because the market is too saturated or overcrowded. It just comes down to three simple core systems that you need. But before we get into it, here's a few screenshots of some social proof so you know what I'm talking about, and I'm not just some goofball retard speaking on the internet, right? And so the main three core systems that you need are these three. You need a flagship offer that solves a high value problem. You need a client acquisition process that consistently brings in qualified buyers, and a delivery system that produces results without burning out as the coach. And so first you need to start with your flagship offer, which for most of you is going to be one-on-one coaching, right? Because let's be real, low ticket fucking sucks. That shit does not work anymore. These fucking MMR motherfuckers, dude. Oh, I don't get me started on fucking low ticket communities, bro. Chasing MMR is the fucking worst rat race to be in. I'd rather work a 9 to 5 the rest of my fucking life than chase fucking MMR, bro. It's horrible. High ticket's the way to go, and it will always be. But the info game is always changing, so we never know. But I digress. Whatever. Fuck low ticket. Your flagship's a high ticket, right? So, like I said before, in order to scale efficiently, you need a flagship offer. Now, the criteria you need in it that it needs to solve an actual painful problem that people have urgency to fix. So, I mean, you can apply that to whatever niche you're in, whether it's fitness, relationships, make money online, but there needs to be an actual painful problem and urgency to fix it. Next is you need to actually sell a transformation. You need to be very specific on who your ICP is, who you're talking to, and actually give them and define a transformation, whether that's through your own personal come up, whatever that may be. You just need to sell them on an actual transformation. Next is that it needs to have a clear timeline. People need to know, you know, how they can expect results, when they can expect results, or how long they're going to be able to have access to you, all that sort of stuff. There needs to be 100% clarity for someone to actually purchase a coaching offer. No one's going to buy a coaching offer if they don't fully understand what they are buying, what they're getting themselves into. So they need that clarity. And then lastly, you need to create exclusivity, which comes through selective enrollment, aka qualification, aka type form. You need an application process that actually filters out the serious buyers from fucking lurkers who don't do shit. And so here's a quick example of what your offer needs to look like. You need to have a duration, typically 12, 16 weeks. There needs to be a clear outcome, clearly defined transformation. You need to have a solid delivery. That could be one-on-one coaching, a small group, like group coaching, or you can do a hybrid where, and by the way, small group is there are high ticket group coaching offers versus low ticket, because the difference between a high ticket group coaching offer and a low ticket community is that with a high ticket group coaching offer, you're probably getting group calls. You're probably getting group calls every day, and at least in some offers, or majority of the week you're getting group coaching, and you also probably get assigned a coach as well. So that's why you're able to charge more than just a low ticket community, because low ticket community is probably a single course as a consumable, and then one or two weekly group calls, and that's kind of fucking it. And there's no way to actually track people's success or anything. Next is you need to attract qualified leads. The reason why you need to attract qualified leads is because you don't want to let random fucking people into your mentorship, because with info, what people say about you, and more specifically what people say about your program, goes a long way. And if you let people in who are not qualified, who don't actually take shit seriously and don't do shit, they're gonna go out there and spread rumors, calling your shit a scam, when in reality they just didn't fucking try. They didn't try, or they didn't stick to it long enough, and then they call it a scam, and then your whole business is fucked. So you want to make sure you attract qualifying leads. And then, I mean, that's like kind of the same thing that happened with Sam Millsap recently, no? Yeah, one of Sam Millsap's students barely put in the fucking work, or didn't put any work in, didn't show up to any coaching calls, didn't stick to it long enough, didn't, follow his advice, but then calls it a scam. Then that fucking whole video goes viral, tarnishing his name, and then the video where Sam actually clears up his name, that doesn't go viral. It got like a small fraction of the views. So, and that can really hinder your fucking business. So you need to make sure you actually filter out these buyers and make sure you only let in serious people, because you don't want them fucking up your whole shit. But as far as actually nurturing your audience, you need to market to problem aware buyers. You need to focus content on messaging to people who are already recognized they have a problem that you can solve. Then you also need to use educational content strategically. You don't want to be, this is mainly for YouTube, but you don't want to be posting like random bullshit. You want to actually have it strategically planned out. You want to be sharing your framework, showing case studies, show your wins, show the deep trenches of what it looks like going through your business and like how you operate. You need to show them what's actually possible, what the real raw reality looks like, because that's going to boost like your trust and your credibility so much. Now, this is kind of optional, but you can leverage lead magnets. So you can do that through free trainings, webinars, PDFs, courses, audits, free consultations. The list goes on. Um, but I don't really think that's all that's necessary. Um, it really just depends on your situation, what your lead flow looks like. Because if you have tons of lead flow, then like you don't need to do that shit. Then as you scale, you need to hit people with retargeting ads. So any people who have seen your content or follow you, you need to hit them with retargeting ads to keep them engaged, right? So they actually buy. Because there's actually a interesting study that I found, or I guess I didn't find it, but I just heard people talk about it. Is some people don't actually like simple. Some people just simply don't buy from organic videos, even if it's the same person. So like I've seen it. People don't. Some people just don't buy from organic videos, but they buy from ads. So even if it's the same person, like take Brez as a quick example. Some people will watch his content, but not buy from his organic. It's only once they see his ad to join the ERT that's when they actually fucking buy. So you got to hit them in different ways: organic, paid, both. Now let's talk about how to actually sell your offer in the sales process, right? So the thing with the sales process is you need to be so malicious with it. Like you really need to like if it's not solid, like your sales process needs to actually be so fucking dialed if you want to scale. You really need to lock that fucking shit in real quick. Your prospects, before they even hop on the call with your sales rep, they need to already be 80 to 90% sold. If you have not already done 80 to 90% of the selling before your sales rep speaks to them, you are not doing a good enough job, because your sales reps, although technically they are a closer, they are supposed to close the deal. The job is just to close the deal, not to sell them. They shouldn't be on fucking sales calls for 40 minutes convincing this fucking brokey that he needs to spend his life savings. That should already be done like through the entire funnel. And then that closer just kind of gives them like the last nudge, right? That's it. So you need to have a strong VSL. Needs to be 15 to 20 minutes. Doesn't actually. It really depends on where your audience is in the awareness ladder. If you're really big on YouTube, like for instance, who's an example? I don't know, Mark builds brands. If anyone is into e-commerce, you know Mark builds brands. Like that dude does not need a VSL. His YouTube videos that are like 20 minutes plus long, those are VSLs in it of itself. So it really just depends on where audience awareness is. But I think just to be safe, you can go with a safe 15 to 20-minute video, outlining the problem, giving them the solution, proving your results, and inviting them to actually apply to your program. It needs to focus mainly 70% of the VSL needs to be storytelling, and then the last 30 just logical reasoning, actually talking about the program, how it's going to benefit them and stuff. But the main thing is talking about that transformation, bringing them through the whole journey of who they are right now to who they could be in 6 months. That's what you want to focus on. They need an application form. You need to qualify these people. It also collects essential data. And most of the times, having an application form is usually just a psychology thing. If people are filling out an application process, it kind of like encourages them to like self qualify themselves. It like makes them take it like way more serious than if it wasn't there. Like just think about it, and it makes sense. If you have to apply for something, the perceived value of it instantly goes up, and you're already going to take that shit more serious. Then you have the call. You use it to confirm fit, outline the path forward, and handle remaining objections/concerns, and then you collect your fat piff. And so now I'm going to kind of contradict myself just a little bit. I love one-on-one coaching, but when it comes to scaling to 7 figures a month, at some point you can no longer just do direct one-on-one coaching, because to get to $1 million a month, I mean, do you expect your coach, your client to do like 1,000 one-on-ones every single month? Like it's impossible. So at some point you do need to add a hybrid group coaching in there, but you still want to have some aspect of the one-on-one. So in order to scale, you're going to eventually have to go from one-on-one to group coaching/one-on-one. So what that looks like is having small group calls combined with optional one-on-one check-ins, usually upon like, you can either do them through like requests, so you can have like people request one-on-one check-ins, or you can just give each student like one monthly check-in or whatever. But it needs to like majority of the fulfillment needs to be through like group coaching. And another thing you want to do is start introducing courses. So you want to be collecting as much data as you can with each student. You want to be keeping track of what questions are being asked, what students are having the hardest time with, and then you want to turn those into video modules, so you're not having to sit there explain the same thing to each student about the same thing. There's just video modules included that cover all these things. And then you need dedicated like coaches. You need to have like assistant coaches, multiple coaches inside your program to help maintain and you know deliver upon the results for each of the students. This way you ensure that you can take on more clients without sacrificing the quality of the program. You have a predictable workload and schedule, and an improved client results with structured systems. I cannot stress enough how important student success is. You need to make sure your student success is so good. Do not scale your program unless every student is seeing success, at least for the ones that actually try. Obviously, even with all the applications, with all the qualifying you do, you're still going to have people who will join and don't do shit. It is what it is. It happens. But you need to make sure that you have a very, very high student success rate before you start scaling. Because if you start scaling with a not intact system, a shitty system, when you scale, it's only going to amplify how shitty it is and is going to crash and burn so fast. It happens all the time. You need to make sure your student success is good because retention is critical and clients who actually succeed become a source of referrals. So at its core, the model can be so at its core, the scaling model can be as simple as this. You have one offer with one traffic system, with one conversion process, with one delivery system. That being the one offer being your one-on-one mentorship program, the one traffic system being the way you bring in repeatable qualified leads, aka your content or paid ads, whatever. Your one conversion process, which means your funnel, so VSL to application to the call, one delivery system, one-on-one calls, consumables, group coaching, whatever. And most people think, having a multi 6, 7 figure a month info business is like some crazy fucking like complex business that has 1,000 parts moving. When in reality, it's not. In order to really scale and be great, you need to have as few moving parts as you can possibly have, because it's way easier to optimize different things when you have less things when you have less factors that come into it. The less factors that you have, the easier it is to optimize, and once it's optimized, fucking load ads under that bitch and scale. And so yeah, scaling to like multiple 6 figures, even 7 figures a month is really not that hard. It's not really about doing more. It's really just about doing less, but being better at each thing. And so if you are someone who is just starting out as a like in this make money online world, like you've got success with your own business model, now you're trying to get into info and coaching, this is probably the fastest path that you can take to actually scale quickly. You need to first define your flagship offer that solves a very painful problem that you can create urgency around and high perceived value. You need to build traffic system, which you can do through organic. YouTube is the method. If you are just starting out, or even if you have been selling info for a long time, if you are not on YouTube, get on YouTube. Nobody buys from gurus on no one buys from info guys who are just on Instagram anymore. Because on Instagram, what can you really do? Flex a car, flex a watch, flex the places you've traveled to sell courses. That doesn't work anymore. People want to actually connect and build a relationship with the person they're buying from. People buy coaches, not coaching. So if you're not someone who they can relate to, no one's buying from you. It is what it is. And on average, someone needs to watch 1 to 2 hours of your content before they buy. No one is watching 1 to 2 hours worth of your content through fucking 30-second, minute long reels. They need to watch long form YouTube content where they can watch that in like 1 or 2 videos and be sold then and there. Then you need to use a conversion process. If you're just starting out, I wouldn't even do a VSL, especially if you're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube and you're just starting out, just have a Typeform application in the bot and like your video description. You don't even need a VSL, to be honest. But then just have that Typeform link to a call if they qualify. Then lastly, you want to deliver results through a scalable, structured program. You do not want your program to have so many moving pieces, so many deliverables, because if you're having to, because like say, on paper, say you have 5 deliverables versus 3 deliverables. If you're having to fulfill on 3 deliverables per student, it's harder to scale than if you had 3. And yes, you can, but what about, but if you had 5 deliverables versus 3 deliverables, doesn't that mean you could charge more? Wrong. Wrong. You don't need to have that many deliverables. Just make sure it's something that you can fulfill on easy. and keep it light on yourself so you're able to scale. And overall, just each step compounds the next. A strong offer makes marketing easier, qualified traffic increases conversions, and effective delivery creates retention and referrals. This framework is repeatable across industries and niches that go from fitness to business to dating to health, creative skills, because it's all based on principles, not trends. For those who want to see what this framework would look like in their own niche, the next logical step is to map out with someone experienced in building these systems, aka me. This process is straightforward but requires precise execution. It may look pretty easy and simple on paper, but when you actually get to it and you have to start tracking KPIs and you have to start tracking all this data and knowing what move to make off that data, it becomes a lot. So if you want someone to take that off your hands, holla at your boy. Message me on Instagram. Let me do a shameless plug real quick, you know what I'm saying? This is my Instagram. But if you're a coach who's either just trying to start out but don't want to deal with all the headache of doing all the stuff out yourself, or if you're already existing coach running their own info product already and you're having you're having trouble scaling, just message me on Instagram. I'll take a look through your business, see what can be done, and we'll get it going. Other than that, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you found any value in this video at all whatsoever. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.